I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
March 4th, 2021 meeting has been called to order. Roll call shows that everyone is in attendance tonight. Number 3, motion to go into closed session under states, or motion, I need a motion to go into closed session.
We'll make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Dan?
Aye.
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 Okay, we are now at number 4, 5 minutes recess.
Dan, have some,
Yeah.
so I don't have to take them home. Line your pockets.
Just don't wash them with them in there.
Number 6, any action on matters discussed in closed session? There's none. Okay, then we will move to 7, agenda changes. We will move number 13, we will move A after F, attorney. Are there any other changes that anyone wants? If not, then we will move to 8, consent agenda. A, February 18th, 2021, regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits. There are none. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, Dan?
Abstain.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. 9, pre-registered citizens to be heard. There are none. 10, committee reports. There are none. 11, unfinished business from previous meetings. None. 12, new business. A, R-04-21, resolution to amend personnel manual.
This is just to amend one holiday, basically, in exchange for a personal day. Yeah.
Personal days are, you can accumulate them, correct?
No, well, we have a personal day 1 per year,
Yeah.
and it's from the first of the year to December 31st. There's no earning of it, it's just once,
Personal day has to be used.
yeah. So instead of having that holiday, it's just, some people don't necessarily want to get off that day and don't need it and would rather have a holiday on a different day. So,
Instead of 8 hours, they get 16 hours is what we're amending, right?
yeah, so
Get
currently
rid
it's
of Good
8,
Friday, yeah.
and then, yeah. So,
Allie, do you follow this also, the general? Or do you have the separate one with the library board?
Ours is usually a little bit different, but we've never included Good Friday as a paid day off.
Okay.
I think that's becoming pretty typical.
Yeah,
A lot of
in
places.
principle, I don't agree with it. Well, I mean, I agree that you want to get rid of it because it's a religious holiday that only certain people will observe. But giving an extra day for it, I don't agree with. I mean, when you get hired for, you get this much vacation, this many personal days, this many sick days, and vacations, vacation days, or sorry, holidays. If you want to get rid of a holiday, you get rid of a holiday. If you want to add in a different holiday, I'm okay with that. But I mean, there's holidays that we don't acknowledge, or we don't. There's federal holidays that we don't give off. But I don't agree with carte blanche, giving out a free day. There's a difference between shutting down, and the entire government shuts down, and people taking a day off.
Right, but
You're
we'd still
basically
be
amending
open,
the entire policy and giving everybody an extra day.
but we're also giving citizens an extra day to come in and be in the office, where otherwise they're not available on that day, where now there has to be someone here. So that's,
And that's what I saw in other employment too, by making it a personal day, you kind of would stagger the workforce on those other days and actually worked a lot better. And then give a little incentive to employees that they could take their time off when they actually wanted it or needed it.
Right.
And so I think it was this is.
I sort of struggle because in my work, they just took away holiday. They just
Yeah.
cut it out altogether and just said, you have one less holiday, we didn't get anything for it. But I do understand the idea of having and this is different, this is government, right? Having the building open for more people, you know, because those people can stagger those days off now across the board.
Now, if somebody wants to take that day off for religious reasons or their own personal reasons, they still can and have to be paid. There may be a different religious holiday for somebody else that they take off, and they could use that personal day for that. It just opened that day that they could take when they'd like to. I have no problem with it.
Holly, do you have 9 holidays and then 2 personal days?
I don't believe we have personal days.
You have no personal days?
That was taken away when the holiday and sick time were taken away.
When what was?
Holidays and sick time were taken away from the part-time library staff.
But you're full-time. Where do you stand on this?
What is a full-time employee at the
What-
library?
what is
The
the full-time?
library board sorry, I'm choking on the candy. The library board has to approve paid holidays every October for the following year.
And how many do you have that were approved for the, just trying to guess.
I would say it's about 8, 9.
So there you have 9
Because we
plus
always
2.
try to stay pretty uniform with holidays. That's why I wondered where you stood.
You had some things for especially now, is this, so all benefited employees, so benefited employees means full-time in a general sense, correct?
Yeah.
So no different than library, the part-time employees no longer receive sick or holiday, which is,
But this is 11 days
Yeah.
instead of, she's saying she gets 9 because she doesn't get, does she get personal days? Do you get personal days? So it's just the holidays for you.
I get holidays and vacation time.
She's full-time.
Right, so but this is what this is for too, right? So full-time, so it's 11 holidays for these people, for this group here, and the library is getting like 8 or 9. Is that what I'm understanding?
The library
I
has
haven't
followed
looked at it
this,
in
right?
a while.
We've pretty much followed this
We
with the
mostly
library.
follow this.
Yeah.
Any effect
There's
on
9, so it'd be
the
10.
police union?
no, that's
There's
separate.
2 hours at the bottom.
I know
So-
that there's been times too, the
Days.
library has been open, but the village office is closed, right? Am I thinking like the day after Thanksgiving?
No,
No?
we usually close
You
for
close for
the
that
day after
too?
Thanksgiving.
Okay,
It doesn't make sense for us to open on a Friday and then close again on a Saturday,
no,
so we usually close on
and
a
it's not,
Friday.
it was never a real busy day for you anyway, no.
We usually open on the 26th, right after Christmas, but
I don't know.
Nathan, what do you, so staff, are they aware that this is a possible amendment? Any feedback from staff? I guess, has anyone shared with
I know
you?
Jane and Lauren would be happy because they're supposed to be here till 5 that day anyway, even if it is a holiday, because it's an election. It's a Friday before an election, so this year they have to be here till 5 anyway.
Okay,
So,
so even if it was still a holiday, they wouldn't have gotten that.
well, technically with the updated, I would have to check our personnel manual, but typically you get paid time and a half then as well. Jane doesn't get that because she's salaried, but Lauren would get time and a half that day fully. So,
And by us making it a non-holiday, they don't get paid time and a half. Is that how I
Right.
understand it? Okay.
Any other comments? Otherwise, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve R-4-21.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay, there we go.
Motion carried. Okay, B is zero turn more purchase.
I'll take this. In the handout I passed out you guys, there are two bids for a 2021 Simplicity Cobalt. That's the independent suspension zero turn mower that works really well. Both quotes were right around 10 and a half. One was 10,399, the other one was 10,500. Deagles and Dale had low bid. The use of these types of zero turn mowers are going to allow us to get rid of our two Kubotas in next year's capital program. In exchange, we'll probably end up going to a utility tractor like a Ventrac. I just threw that in there as an example. And we figure we could trade in the two Kubotas and almost get the Ventrac for free, maybe a little bit of money. Anyways, we're looking to purchase another zero turn mower. They work so fast and efficient. The existing one's got a few years on it now, but we're gonna bring that down here and probably use it at Auto and this building. Again, they're incredible machines, and they're not like zero turns you buy at Menards. These are industrial. They ride like Cadillacs. The guys can go on them all day long, so they're nice and well worth the price. They just reduced our hours by an incredible amount. It used to take almost all week to mow, and now we got it down to about 23 hours, everything. So again, I'm just looking for a motion to approve. This is already in the capital budget. The funding is. So.
Did either one of these include any type of service agreement or what type of warranty?
This with the government, we get 1 year mostly with everything. Doesn't matter if it's a pickup truck down to a.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't. Commercial contractors typically don't get what you get at your house. So commercial or government, we get 1 year. That's it.
So you're gonna go from two down to two more?
Well, we'll have two of these.
Oh, you have two of these?
But the old one, we're just gonna relegate for up here and probably from here to Auto or here to the cemetery once in a while. But we're gonna have one, one for main duty. So this one is gonna be our main duty one.
So, but you'll have two still, so.
We'll still have two, yeah.
Okay,
But-
so if you have a breakdown, you're not gonna have to contract to somebody else to do
No,
it?
yeah, I don't think we'd ever, that's one thing nice about Deagles. We've been working with them and buying equipment from them, and they would probably loan us something for nothing.
Okay.
The Deagle boys, they're pretty good.
Where are they located?
Dale.
Oh,
The whole family's, like I said, they're on the fire department down there. They've been in the business for years and years. They're a steel dealer, and we practically buy everything from them. So.
I'll make a motion to award the 2021 Simplicity Cobalt purchase to Deagles in the amount of $10,399.
Okay.
Roll call, Dan.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. C, Nature's Haven lift pump replacement.
I'll take this one as well. In your packet is a note from Ryan St. John about the lift station. When that lift station was put in, we didn't at the time run three-phase back in there. So we compromised by putting in 220 pumps and mechanical and everything, and it's always been an issue because 110 pump, 220 pump, everything works harder and draws more amperage than a three-phase equipment. So over the years, we've been having one issue after another. We've replaced the pumps down there a couple of years ago. We had a lot of issues with one of the pumps again, so what we did, we converted that half of the lift station, tricking it into three-phase, thinking it's three-phase, by use of a transformer and some other hocus pocus. But we want to do the same to the other side. We had a fire in there last week, and I think the last thing I want to do is burn that unit down, because then we'd flood sewage and all up Lakeshore, Lakeview subdivision. So I talked to Dan a little bit about it, and we went ahead and authorized the ordering of the equipment. It's a new pump, and it's a new control panel for that side to trick it into thinking it's three-phase. It'll burn much better, or the pump will be much better, have a better head rate, flow rate, plus it'll use less electricity, but that's not why we're buying it. We're buying it so we don't burn the thing down. So, like I said, we could have, for $10,000 10 years ago, we could have just put three-phase back there, but
Yeah. No,
we saved money, and now we've been kind of paying for it ever since.
We had 3-phase on the farm. So the two questions I have, so when you say you kind of tricked it with some transformers and stuff, generally with 3-phase, you'll see the 3 transformers on a pole. Do we truly have the right setup for 3-phase, or do we need to
Yeah.
invest?
It is 3-phase, but it's like, the way they do it on the poles, I wouldn't say it's a trick. It's converted from
Okay.
3-phase on the poles, and we're using 2 phases, turning it into 3 phases.
Okay,
So, I'm not an electrician or a master electrician, but I kind of understand the concept,
Yeah.
but it took like the use of transformers and other stuff
Yeah.
on site to have that accomplished. Yeah, again, we had a small fire in the cabinet,
I'm just wondering if we needed to invest more money or to ask We Energy.
no, I
to
think this will
update
solve the
anything.
issues.
Okay.
We haven't had a speck of problem with the other one, and we did that, I think, last year or the year before. We put the Bar Mesa in there, not the Bar Mesa, but that other brand. Anyways, it was a 3-phase.
Okay. And the other question I have is that the end of a line?
Well, that lift station was put in not only just for Lake Shore, Lakeview, but it was also for the future.
Electric line.
Oh, no, there's only 220,
I was trying to envision where this is.
or
Because if it's
single
the end of
phase
the
that
line,
runs
you
through
could have.
Beezy.
Okay.
3-phase is on Nash, but we didn't run it from Nash back in there, because it
I
was
was
about
just concerned
600
about
feet.
stray voltage when you convert stuff. Okay.
No.
All right.
So anyways, I already ordered the pump and stuff, so,
So
I
Yeah,
that's
my-
part of the technical repair.
yeah, we,
That's included in the
yeah,
71?
B&M Technical Services, specifically the guy that works here, his name's Todd Schultz. He's been handling our technical work, for the
Mhm.
wastewater plant ever since I started. He was in the Air Force the same time I was. He's radar tech, and the guy's a super whiz, and he does all of our technical work.
I was just making sure you had everything in this right
Yeah.
here. Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the technical repair order to B&M in the amount of $7,196.
Second. Roll call, Dan?
Hi,
Aye.
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 Motion carried. D, Park and Rec Scholarship.
So this was asked to be put on by Pat. I know a while ago we talked about, it was around last summer, we talked about potentially a scholarship for the rec program for someone who is underprivileged, and we, at the time, it was too close to when we were starting, so we decided to push it off, and she just wanted it to be put back on, to be talked about, I guess, on a potential scholarship thing for low-income people.
Yeah, and it, like Nathan said, I brought it up too late last year, and then COVID, so we had to restrict numbers, but, I know Appleton does this for their recreation program. They have scholarships based on if a family, is eligible for free lunch at school, then they're considered for a scholarship. And, I'm just thinking it can be looked at in a whole bunch of different ways. Kids have been home for a long time, some of them, bridging the isolation, getting them out, getting some good socialization, crime prevention, good enrichment to be in a good program where they might not be able to access it due to income circumstances. I don't know if we have funds in the village because I haven't talked to Nathan about that, but I think we could solicit donations from community groups. I think there's people that may be willing to sponsor a child or field trip or whatever. I think there's resources out there. I guess I'm looking for permission to look into this further, however that might happen. Or
You know-
get feedback from anybody.
It's too late to get anything in the Village Voice on this, if we would ask for
No.
sponsors.
I'm sure Lisa would probably be
I just
able
sent
to.
her another article after our senior meeting,
did?
so.
On this?
No, it was on the senior committee,
Oh, okay.
so.
And
I just wondered, and then to put it on Facebook, if someone would be interested in potentially sponsoring a child, if they knew, and then who would be the head of deciding what child would get that, or if there were 2 or
An
3,
applicant.
say, or,
Well, and I think we should involve whoever the new director is
right.
in that, you know.
So
I
you
don't
wanna
know,
head this up?
pardon me,
Would you head this up?
what'd you say?
Would you head this up?
I will help. I know that where one of our grandson goes to school in Oshkosh, they could pay for a field trip for another child. So if our grandson was going, our daughter and son-in-law could, you know, pay an additional for another child. So I can see how it could work.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's businesses and I think there's groups that would absolutely jump on that, yeah.
And maybe there's referrals from the school or social services, maybe the police, school liaison, maybe they have an idea of who might, we could reach out to, so.
I think cost does hold some families back, especially if there's more than maybe 3 children, you know, that's a
Mhm.
big cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So by scholarship, we're just talking about paying the fees for the rec program, is that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would be the village's role to play in this?
Sounds like just a
Is it
centralized.
just a private program, basically,
It
that
sounds like it's, from what Pat's describing, is we're just like becoming the centralized holder for
application?
applications and where businesses or whomever can make donations so that it, and then give it to the rec person or whomever to distribute.
Yep.
We're not, from what I'm hearing, we're not looking necessarily to fund it from a village standpoint, just sort of becoming the liaison to centralize the process at this point.
I don't know
If we
that-
had funds, I mean,
Yeah,
it wouldn't
I
be
don't-
terrible for us to give a little bit, but,
Right.
you know, obviously we can't pay for every kid in the village to go to rec.
And I haven't talked to Nathan or anybody about the standing as far as funding, you know, where we're at with considering the salary and how much money will come in registration, so.
The village usually has put in quite a bit to rec and helped out. You know, I don't think they break even with our registration fees at all, so, you know, I think it would be nice if we could get someone, a business or someone that the police knew, or just a personal family that wanted to just be kind and donate to maybe one of their kids' friends, or, you know, I think that's where we should go first with
I agree.
this.
You
Yeah.
find somebody who's gonna spearhead it, well,
So basically, we just need a head nod for you to go ahead.
Okay, and so who should I work with you, Nathan, on that? Or
Until we
would
get a
say-
director.
Nathan's not gonna answer me
I
now.
would say put it in the village voice.
Well, I don't know how much I should really do with
Okay.
it, considering it's, in my eyes, it's more of a nonprofit thing than a municipality thing.
So if we would send letters out requesting donations, how should that be? Should that go on letterhead or not then?
Do it through the village voice first.
Do you have a
and see what kind of
non-for-profit, do you have a
response.
non-for-profit group that's maybe a 501c3 that might be willing
Oh,
to
I think
help
the Friends
cover
of the
that?
Library.
Friends of the Library, I mean, it's not a bad connection there, I don't know.
Kids programming.
I'm not
I'll sponsor
even
one.
swinging it, but I mean, I think people have to
well,
feel comfortable where they're donating to.
yeah.
Right.
And I think Friends of the Library seems like a pretty safe place. I don't know, I'm not.
Well, we're having a friends meeting next week, so,
Is the Friends a 501c3?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so any donations would be a tax write-off.
Yep.
That's the way you should approach it.
Yeah, if they don't like it, then go to the post, go to the Legion or somebody,
Civic organization.
yeah.
Civic
They throw you out of the
organizations, you know.
So,
This is the part we don't
Okay.
think I can.
Congratulations.
thank you. See, I get myself in trouble like this. Thank you for the
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, I love the idea, I love the idea, Pat. I just, yeah, I kind of agree that I think it should be a non-for-profit. I just, yeah, but then you get into the confidentiality part of it too, like, you know,
Well, it could be just a clearinghouse
Yep.
for the
Yep.
past.
okay.
We'll figure it out.
I think you could approach a couple of the nonprofits in the area and see if they would be interested in each sponsoring
Sure.
one child, and then you could potentially spearhead it from there, and knowing that they're going to sponsor.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, then we will move to E, Eller's TID for amendment.
So that's in your packet. It's just basically a contract to amend TID 4. This has to get amended due to a 35% threshold that was surpassed with the TID, with the amount of new residential inside the TID, with the S.E. Swiderski project. So in order to be in state compliance, we need to alter our zoning, our basically TID boundaries and move out. So this is the current map.
I'll go to the proposed one.
And this is gonna be, this would be the new proposed map.
It's hard to tell in there. Basically, we take in the old nail factory. We keep Charlie's on the south side and Schiedemeier's carpet place on the east side of Douglas.
S.E.
Again,
Swiderski's income would be able to supplement the leftover payments we have on the Weedick property or the cottages on Main. And plus some, so it is still a financially better solution than having the cottages on Main as part of our TID. So we'll still have a good amount of revenue, it just won't be as much from that TID.
Are we limited to how many times we can make an adjustment on a TID?
3,
And where are we at with this one?
I believe this would be our first, according to
Okay.
Elders.
When we were looking at rezoning that property out there, was Ellers involved?
No,
Okay, so we had no guidance whatsoever that we about rezoning.
correct,
Okay. So basically, this is to fix that.
yes.
Okay.
So we have to drop some of the residential off of it, is that what I understand? I read through this whole thing, and it's dry.
Right, the new residential. So, we can grab stuff that's old residential or has been residential, but we can only have 35% of new residential as part of the mixed use, TID.
acreage wise,
Right,
we had to drop those 5 homes on your neighborhood plus Commonwealth. So that'll go back on the tax roll. We'll still get our share as a village, but the school and the county, and they'll now receive an income they were gonna get for the next 20 years or 18 years or whatever it is. But we just had to do it to, again, avoid the 35% rule. When Diane created this TID, I think we had envisioned commercial on those properties. And when we had such a large development coming before us, not making excuses, but I was part of it as well. I mean, we kind of went head over heels with, all this development coming and potential revenue for the village that maybe we didn't read the fine print.
So we have to, so you're limited to 35%. And so I'm assuming that this happens with other people, other municipalities. No, never? It's never,
this is the first time Elders has ever encountered something like this.
okay. So what happens if we don't fix it?
Basically, they said there's no, state police, but the issue is, we could get, the JRB, the Joint Review Board, could decide that, that money gets paid back out. So they could take that money out, and we would have to pay them, the S.E. Swiderski portion, which is actually better than the other portion. Otherwise, it could mean that there is no TIDs going forward, and they don't need to work, they might not want to work with us anymore with creation of new TIDs, which is a great tool to keep in your basket in the future, so.
Considering school district, Fox Valley
Right.
Tech, yeah, that's joint
So-
reward.
So how does that work with, so you're gonna take the Brookwood properties off? Okay, so
right.
explain to me how that works, because my understanding of that TID is we basically got money so that we could do the development, and then the tax revenue from those developed properties go back to pay that until that's paid off, whatever the term of that TID,
Right.
or the term of the TID, and then after that, the tax revenue goes in the general fund. So if we just take those properties off of that TID, What happens to that?
So basically, instead of the pooling of the money, which is currently happening for us under the TID, it's going into the TID. That would be split back out to the other jurisdictions. So the school will get their tax increment from those properties, and
Which they
same with
haven't
the
been getting
county.
because they're in the TID right now.
Right. So right now, they're not getting that. Where the benefit is the income that will be created from SC Swiderski is gonna surpass what the income is gonna be from this current
The
development.
law, yeah, the law.
So, right.
I thought Phil was working with us from Ellers at that time. In fact, I remember going to a joint review board meeting.
They were working on finances, not TID review.
Okay, I just remember sitting at a meeting and hashing out all of that.
I had the same questions, but
Yeah.
no, because the only one that really caught it was Nathan, and Phil,
Yeah.
the big guy, had always, yeah, he caught it pretty fast too. But before, it was just, we were asking financial questions from somebody who works at Ellers, who's a finance person, not a TID
Okay,
specialist.
Understandable. So by doing this, does this affect, did we do some kind of pay-go for cottages?
Yes.
So that affects that.
Right, so that's what I was just, basically, the SC Swiderski will still cover that in the tip. That'll be paid out, it's gonna suck up a little more money than what we were gonna initially get if we were able to keep it, but since it's outside of the issue is already there, so it basically will get paid off by the TID, and yeah, there's like a few $100,000 that we have to pay.
Do we have to go back to the review board though?
Correct. So basically, this isn't even amending the actual TID right now. We're just doing the proposal to allow Ellers to draw up all the information. It's gonna be a long process. So we'll have to go and have another review board meeting. We'll probably have to go and beg out Agamme County to allow us to do this. Because they've been troublesome, I guess, in the past when it comes to dealing with kids and amending them, according to Ellers. So we have a bunch of meetings to attend after this, and it's still gonna come back here also for the amendment, and then we have the JRB meeting. We'll have more financial information, more detailed. The only thing we have right now is just basically estimates and, so.
So
The,
basically, are you looking for us to just give you a head nod to go ahead with Ellers?
No, I'm looking for an approval of the contract. The contract will be fully paid for by the TID of $18,500, plus the fees for the actual amendment through the Department of Revenue.
We're also gonna amend the project plan. We had always talked about a donor TID. Well, Ellers doesn't, we can't really do a true donor
Well,
TID.
we, you know,
Yeah, we don't wanna go too much there, but we're gonna address the project plan, and that will pretty much, the money we do make from SC Swiderski, we can pretty much spend from Mill Street all the way back to SC Swiderski. So we have to address that as well. And the tax increment from Commonwealth will pretty much cover what we owe them for their development.
so what we're getting in tax revenue outside of the TID, once they get dissolved outside of the TID, our tax revenue will be about the same as the payment that we have to make to them yearly, but it's still, that's getting paid through the TID anyway, so it's really gonna not really affect us much.
So
It's
the
just,
one-
we're not getting as much revenue as we were going to get. It's not gonna hurt us financially.
About 1.1 instead of 1.5 for downtown, or Main Street.
400,000.
You're talking about a $400,000 hit because of this?
Mm-hmm.
So is there any, is this
300.
Ellers' suggestion to do this?
Yeah,
This
this
is
was,
what they
well, this was
suggested?
after, I mean, we were on an hour or two conversation with them on ways to fix it and keep this in the TID and keep this legal. This is the best avenue that they said they could come up with, would be amending the TID and adding in parcels.
So is this the only option that was presented, or are there
Well,
other options that were?
You could do
not-
nothing and never get another TID again.
Well, yeah,
No,
besides that,
he's
yeah.
saying,
No, I
there
meant-
are
No,
other
there's no
cuts
other-
that you can do.
Yeah,
that
is there,
land.
is there some of this property that could be absorbed into one of the other TIDs and then to reduce that size?
The
Or is
issue is
Were there any other proposals that were given?
Not really,
We're not
because of
seeing.
the location of this TID is, your back's against the wall because you're right on the edge of the municipality, so.
Yeah.
And South is all, industrial, which is already was already part, I think, of TID 1. And the odds of them wanting that back in there are gonna be hard to sell when all the lots are filled. And are somewhat more newer, so this was the best option. I mean, yeah, you could get rid of one of the parcels here and add in a few of the homes, and it's really not gonna have any difference, as the hit that you're gonna take.
Is there any way to just take Swinderski's development out of the TID
Yeah.
completely and then find a different way to finance that other than through the TID? Without
Well,
taking a
right, we
$400,000
could
hit?
pay the 500,000 ourselves that we're giving them in order to develop.
Okay,
That
But
costs more than what we're
then-
yeah,
losing.
that's, yeah,
Right,
It's a bigger return just to do this, just not as much.
right.
okay. I'm just trying to understand what the alternatives were, instead of
Yeah.
just having one idea and saying, this is what we got, so. If there were any other,
No, not really.
okay.
So,
We could
Nathan,
annex land. That was the other suggestion, taking land from Hortonville
Okay,
and annexing it into the TID, but that creates more political mess, and
Yeah,
it's already gonna be a pain to try to get this passed through the JRP. So,
Nathan,
yeah,
Eller's charges for those services are 18,500,
yep,
but then there's another 4,000 in DNR, Department of Revenue,
correct,
not DNR, Department of Revenue fees.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's, current stuff, so yeah. I think it's actually 1,000 per property.
If I remember right, we rezoned that property, that was zoned commercial, so the intent,
It was zoned, one was commercial, one was industrial, light industrial.
and we rezoned it.
Correct.
And didn't think of it at the time we were rezoning either, that this might affect it.
Correct.
Okay.
Should just be 1,000, shouldn't it?
I'd have to look at it.
It was just the
It might just be 1,000.
the amendment packet with territory.
Yeah.
Oh, so not all four apply?
No,
What about the base value redetermination?
of course we have subtraction too. That's
Yeah,
what-
you know, you're subtracting,
Yeah, I don't know if we're doing adding, subtracting.
right, that
It
might
may
be,
maybe
I think
three
that's
times.
for the parcels, so.
Yep.
It's a per part.
Once we're not taking away $1,000, taking this parcel out of that TID and adding this parcel in, so.
What do you need from us this evening?
To approve of the contract to allow Ellers to start the process for the TID 4 project plan amendment.
And we aren't 100% sure, based on Peter's questions, like if it's the 18,500
The only
plus?
thing we need at this point is the 18,500. I believe all the other portions will come when we do our presentation through Ellers
Yeah.
to you of the amendment. Then we would have the exact amounts, because this is just a fee schedule. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable doing the 18.5 now and then just bringing it back when they come back and say, you know, there's gonna be an additional $3,000 for this and we need to approve that.
We go into it knowing that
'Cause it's
there's
an
gonna
unknown,
be
right?
initial,
So-
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
at least we have a report and an understanding of all the processes and steps that they're gonna take.
And they said it's trouble getting these amendments or
well,
changes
we
through.
need to have the JRB agree to it. So that would mean Allegheny County usually is very troublesome according to them when it comes to TIDs and the financing portion of it, because they don't really like them used for residential at all. So according to Ellers, that might be a problem to try to get them in,
But we have to do something.
but we got to, yeah.
But in our defense, it was zoned commercial at the time and industrial. And when we had that meeting to rezone, it never, planning and zoning never brought it up, board never brought, it just didn't even hit our radar.
Well, who would have known?
Who would have known?
Yeah. the
Because it
change
was,
percentage.
yeah.
You'd have to be an engineer.
So,
Maybe.
I think of the county, it's not like we deliberately, it wasn't
deliberate. We
That's
didn't- we
kind of
didn't
what I
mess with
was.
it.
No, had it
I
been.
don't think the
yeah.
county is gonna be as, I told Ellers, I'm not
Yeah.
too worried about the county, I know enough people in the county
Yeah.
for
It just might extend the process
Right.
longer. It's just
Yeah.
gonna
It's
take
just-
longer because you gotta go
Yeah.
through all these
Had
steps.
it been
Right.
zoned R2 and then we did this,
Right.
it'd been like, what the heck, but
It's better to do it
The
now
chain of
too,
events.
because I think
Yeah.
the state has been looking at making it so that you have to have a unanimous vote, where right now, you don't.
okay.
So, if Allegheny County doesn't wanna go along with us anyway, it's not gonna hurt us
Okay,
that bad.
yeah,
to
to
have
get
a-
the school district
They're
and
just one
actually
vote
tax.
currently, but
Okay.
Well, I think this will bring us into compliance and
Yeah.
get us somebody to overview it, so it has to be done, so I'll make a
agree.
motion to go into engage in a contract with Ellers for $18,500, get this process going for, kid reboundary, is that what you wanna call it?
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, Dan?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. F, board meeting table.
Yeah, I'll take that. We looked into some different types of tables. On the screen here, you can see one called a Tarina. Decent looking table. A set of these, 4 of these, this time would be 3,800. They don't have electrical or any outlets you guys were looking at. That's through a company called K-Log. It's also through K-Log. They're adjustable, but they look kind of chintzy. Never mind that. This is another Tarina table with a modesty panel. I think on the website it was about 10 grand for a set of them. Very pricey.
Table.
Yeah. No, this is a, let me zoom in here. These are the online versions. I'm gonna get to the company that did our, or the lady that did our FF&E for the building here. She's got a proposal as well. Again, that's the one we looked at. A full set of them, actually 4 of them would be $3,000. 4 of the cheaper ones would be about $2,000. I don't know if you can see them. It's the same ones I just showed earlier in the larger pictures.
Hospital.
Never mind that.
Yeah.
Never mind that.
Terrible.
You guys could do with a great.
Yeah.
These are Tarinas here. These are the ones. Let me go over here, right here. There we go. This is through CJ Associates. They're the ones who supplied. Originally, these cabinets out here in the hallway were about 14 grand or 15 grand, and they got them down to 8 grand for their pricing. And these tables here, 4 tables with electrical, without the lectern, is about, well, I've got it. It was 5,000, where did I put that? Sorry about this.
Like the modesty panel.
Anybody got the colored printout? It's got the price on there for 5 of these, or 4 of these tables. My handout, my memo in color.
How many?
You
feet-
guys should have them.
How many feet are these? Because like we've added extra tables for
They are
distance.
6 feet.
30 by 72.
So it's
But the legs are way on the outside. These here are an issue because the legs are so far in that me and Peter would be sitting on top of each other. These are the same size
57,
tables, but the legs are
67.
further out, so they give you more leg room. You don't have to sit too close to Peter.
This is the C&J,
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
57,
57,
68.
67,
I,
98.
Yeah.
I have a question, why can't we just use these tables?
We can use this type. Should we? I mean, it's up to you. We were just showing you all the different options aside from
These
these.
are much nicer tables, how expensive are these?
I didn't price them. I didn't price these because we were looking at getting you guys some decent, nicer tables, but there's nothing wrong with these.
the beauty of these and using more of, purchasing more or using these is that then they're similar tables.
Yeah.
So that when you do rent out both sides of this, you don't have a table that's this wide and one that's this wide,
Yeah.
right? Because those look fairly narrow.
There's more in the room, right?
Yeah, we have more.
Well, these are 8 foot, what he's talking about are 6
About there,
foot.
6
7.
foot, and then they look shallower.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're gonna rent out the room, don't you want consistent tables?
Who needs a modesty panel?
I like my birthday party.
I think
I believe it. Never mind. You're right, I mean, we can look into it, we're rushing into this, I mean, I didn't think we'd decide tonight anyways, we're just trying
No.
to tell you what we found.
I
This is
would
the whole-
price what these tables are,
I
they're
can
much,
definitely do that.
to me, they're nicer tables and they can be used when we rent this facility.
Do they look decent?
How
I
many
mean,
more do we have?
those to me
Yeah,
would
like
be
that.
useless.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
wow.
got 10 in all.
So do we even need more? Do we need more or not?
No, we wouldn't need more.
I see one there.
We could actually use the ones we have.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm fine with that.
I mean, if you wanted more tables, because that would give people renting it more tables, or the library that would use it
Or
more
whatever.
tables.
I wouldn't mind getting a couple.
Yeah,
Maybe
three
get
or
a
four
couple,
tables.
but I
Four
would
tables.
think we wouldn't need to get extravagant on this. Let's just move ahead and use the tables we have right now, and if we see we need more, when we rent the building out,
Okay,
I agree.
Considering there might be some cost, there might be some repairs to the
yeah,
floor.
I mean, we might be able to sell that and be money positive, so.
exactly.
And then get something to put on the top of one of them.
So
that
expect this to be done in 2
judges
weeks.
and Well, we were gonna get something for the center, right, like a lectern or whatever that we were gonna put on top.
There's
thought-
one right there.
Yeah, but I thought we were gonna get one for the
For the
person
judge,
court or whatever.
Isn't there one
I'm not a
in
big,
this
I'm not a big
storage
fan of it, cause they're so darn pricey. The one they quoted here was like $800, and it looks like, we'll find something for them, a couple of bucks to
Just
set
something to
on.
put up there,
Yeah.
yeah.
room?
Build a
It
box.
doesn't have to be anything, we don't need anything special, they don't need anything
No,
special
we
either.
don't
You know,
need
Moeller, you
anything.
can get the scouts to build one.
We don't need anything special.
Alright,
No, there's nothing special.
Let's just
Oh,
go
we
with
got-
the
Why
table.
spend the money?
Quad thing.
we got a
These
direction,
tables are nice.
You can put that towards scholarships.
yeah.
You got it?
Oh,
That's the second time you did
We
that.
could cut the bookshelves down and we could do something with
Yeah,
those.
can't someone get on Pinterest and do something with those bookshelves?
Yeah.
You know?
Come on.
Actually,
Is
kinda
everyone
good.
in agreement with
Till one of
that?
the shelves is your
Yes.
lectern right there.
Okay,
I like
Alright.
We're in agreement.
I'll get some prices on these.
yeah, we're in agreement.
Alright,
Okay,
by next 2 weeks.
all right.
Find out those are $8,000.
We are in
They won't
agreement,
back
so
off.
we don't even need you to look into anything.
Okay, let's
Let's
get it
just use
done.
what we got
Just get rid
right
of these.
now.
Well, we can use what we got for now.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
You
get
want me to
rid
get
of
this
this.
gone?
2 weeks gone.
Alright.
What are you gonna do?
Do you think you'll find someone that can sell it
Homecoming bonfire.
Yeah,
as one piece?
No.
yeah, we have someone right there.
Yeah, just
She can sell anything.
get rid of them.
Yeah.
Ellie can
Anybody can
sell.
sell it.
Sell them.
Vanna White over
Yeah,
here
I
is
like
gonna
this
take
one.
care of it, yeah. Okay.
All right, we're all in agreement? All right, then we'll move to G. Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Topics or questions for future agendas only? No discussion or answers, motions to schedule this in.
I just wanted to ask about the meeting Monday night. I am not able to attend. I would like to. Is there a way to tape the presentation?
Yes.
Has that been
I already
decided?
asked Nathan if we could go ahead with taping it for anyone that wasn't here,
Okay,
and then if the public wanted to see it. So we will tape the open portion
okay.
of the meeting,
Well, we have to do the presentation with the,
if that's all right with everyone.
Yep.
And that's the only
Discussion.
time that comments can be made, am I correct, at the meeting? Not now, or,
Yes,
Okay.
because it's not on the agenda,
that's what I assumed.
okay? If you have any questions, give them to Nathan. If you can't be here. And then, we have Nathan's review due in April 4th. He'll be here 3 months. Did we agree on a 90-day review?
Is that the end of his 100-day?
90,
Oh, 90.
3 months.
I'm thinking somebody else.
I thought that's what we all agreed upon.
That
Yeah.
sounds right.
So we should look into what we want to use for doing the review. Do you have anything set up for employees?
So the plan was, if you guys would, I like the way that Ally does hers. I know I'm probably setting myself up for a fun night, but, basically you hand out, reviews to the staff is one thing. And they could write the reviews and put it in an envelope and you guys open it. I don't even see it. We open it together and we go through it. I find out ways I can improve my job performance, and you guys get reviews that aren't biased from anyone. So, and then anything you guys want to review from me, I can provide as well.
So at the next meeting, should we set up a time to do this, or should we send out these questionnaires now to give the employees time? Is that what we want to do? I mean,
Could we do this by, are we looking at doing that the first, because April 1st is the first meeting of, first board meeting. Are we looking at doing it by April 1st? It would be nice to have Dan included because he was part of the hiring. I mean, it would be,
do we have to put it on the next board meeting to discuss,
Yeah.
since it's not on here? Is that what we have to do, and then we can get ideas and then maybe go from there?
Yeah.
And didn't the, I never have the initials correct, the agency that did the interviews and stuff, PBAA, or didn't they have some, job reviews that they were willing to share with us too?
What's that?
Some formats,
He was
They sent me
actually
some.
gonna talk to us about, critiquing our TO here about positions and evaluating and that.
yeah,
That's why I understood.
but I think they did say they had things that would help with.
But we
They
shouldn't be
sent me a,
discussing.
they have like
They
a,
did?
yeah, I
Should
have a
this
sample
just get
review.
put on
that
the
they had.
next board meeting to discuss?
Yeah.
Correct.
Put it on.
Anybody who has ideas, bring them in. Okay, and then, also we were going to put the court on the next board meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, does anyone have anything else?
Carl and Nathan were talking about the 15 bypass, setting up a committee meeting for that and talking about the things that we have to look at as a village along with their project.
Okay, so you want that on the board meeting in 2 weeks?
If you
Or you
want
want a
to
special
with that
meeting?
first.
Committee meeting, so I don't know if it's the COW or do it with Public Works, so,
Do a cow?
I think, committee of the whole.
I'd like to do a CAL instead of Public Works.
yeah, then we could get
Because
everything over it.
This involves everybody in the whole town. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, but it's gonna be heavily slanted towards Public Works projects, post bypass, just the way it is.
We need a cow.
So are we
Let's
looking
do
at
a
doing
cow.
the 15th? I guess, I just want to put it on my calendar.
Do it in 2
Let's do a
weeks
CAL
before the
for the
board
next
meeting?
meeting.
What time?
5,
5?
is that enough time?
Does
1
5
hour?
give you enough time?
I think so.
Okay, then we'll plan
If
a
not,
call
then
for
we're
5
making good
o'clock.
progress, I guess.
I mean, we're going down all of 15. Are you sure an hour is gonna be enough?
Well, it'll be a start,
Okay,
so
that's fine.
I think it'll be a start.
Even if we have a late start, we'll be fine.
So what time?
Yeah.
Cow on next meeting.
So a
next
call
board
before
meeting.
the next board meeting,
At what time?
5.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, we'll move then to 13, reports of village officials. We'll move to B, clerk treasurer.
We're finalizing all the audit paperwork. They're coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Lauren's finished all of her WISVO training, so she can work in the state elections system. Other than that, that's what all I have.
When do absentees go out?
Absentees, the deadline is the 15th or the 16th of March.
That you mail them?
Yes, we have to have them. As soon as we get them from the county, we'll mail them out.
And then when does voting in the office start?
That starts March 23rd. It's a Tuesday.
March 23rd
All the way through April 2nd.
to April 2nd. Okay. And will you be posting that then?
Yes,
Okay, good.
I just worked on that today, actually.
Okay, then we'll move to C, Director of Public Works.
Just a couple. And I had sent out that State Highway 15 project seminar or webinar material, and I just pointed out some of the key takeaways from there. Me and Bob were talking. While the bypass is going to be completed as far as bridges and gravel and roadways, it's not going to be paved until 2023. Again, they're going to let it set over one more winter, I guess. So they'll pave the bypass when they pave the section from here to Greenville. So that whole, by November 1, it'll be open from Sam's farm all the way to Greenville. So again, everything should be in that bypass. Yeah, it'll be right, so. And, just a little touch on the Badger meters, about 15 years ago, we were looking at transitioning our meters to the remote reading technologies. Right now, we got about 13, 14 years in there, but the technology is getting so old that we're just about running out, well, not running out of meters, but you can't really get the Galaxy meters anymore, so we're gonna transition into what they call beacon cellular technologies, and just kind of keep moving forward from there. We're not gonna pull our old ones, we'll be able to get our full life out of them, but the technology's shifting towards a different cellular-based system. There's some fancy language in there in the bottom of my sheet there. I'm sure Jim's the only one here that knows what it all means. Yeah, anyway, that's it.
Any questions for Kyle?
I got one I wanted to show you guys. This is downtown post putting the lights up, and really brighten it up down there. Looks better on the TV, but I do have one video. Maybe. Yeah, computer's slow. Anyways, yeah, it's quite a marked improvement. They did a before video, but the camera settings were off, so you couldn't exactly tell what was going on. Well, you can go on. If this video pops up, the next person can call. All right.
Have you got any comments from the businesses down there? They gave us-
No, but nobody said anything negative, so that's a good thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
I definitely noticed a difference when you're crossing the street down there. It's significant.
This video was made prior. It was only just a down crosswalk area we had the new lights in, so you can see how well that's lit up.
Yeah.
But as you go down, you can see the old lights, how it was still a little dingy. And then again, that picture I had shown, especially when you get down here by Terry Dufresne property, and it's just pretty dark down there. So now, you know, that's a comparison. Not only is it lit up here, but it's lit up all the way from one end to the other. I think we should still do something down by the Dufresne property on the corner. Well, that's going to get, this light here is going to be LED here pretty quick, so maybe that'll help.
I think we were talking about the renters going in over there. I think that'd be
Yeah.
man, especially with a lot more pedestrians down there.
You know, it's possible maybe we should put a light in front of the Opera House. You know, light that up. That would help
I
as
agree.
well.
It's a dangerous intersection if
Yeah.
you're walking at night
It's
or
tough to
riding
see.
your bike.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
So, not on this, but on the one prior to that, the 15 bypass stuff.
Yeah.
I read through all of that. It's a little bit hard to follow with what sections of 15 are actually going to be shut down and when, because some of the sections in there say Highway 15 will be shut down, when it doesn't say where it's going to be shut down.
Yeah. The section between the west roundabout, Hortonville Town Hall, and New London will be shut down pretty much that whole project. The project's broken up into thirds: the bypass, the Greenville, the Hortonville section, and the Hortonville, the New London section. Because they're doing so much work on the ledge hill, they're widening that out and using most of that fill in other locations, that they're going to have that road shut down for pretty much the entire project. So when the bypass does finally open up for us, we're not going to have anywhere to go, because everybody's going to have to either go north or south anyway.
So there's gonna be blasting there?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah,
They'll probably blast it and crush it and use up the base.
that'll set somebody off.
As
That's
we
Hortonian.
get closer to that, can we post something? I mean, when we start getting into, you know, getting closer to where they're going to close
Start
sections.
shutting down.
Can we start looking at posting the, you know, pictures with the routes? Because I can follow a lot of the routes in the areas that I know really well, where they said, yeah, you're gonna go here and here and here, and I'm like, okay, so that means this section's gonna be closed, but in the description, it just says Highway 15 is gonna be closed.
Well,
I'm like,
actually,
"Oh, that's a lot
Allegheny
of closing."
County Highway Department has a Facebook page. They're very good about
Oh.
posting things that
Yeah.
are closed.
Or, I mean, we could link
Just
to
link
that,
to
but I
that,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, but,
They're
yeah.
gonna, but Allegheny County, what they do, it's a state project, they're gonna link back to the state,
Yeah.
so,
We'll go into
Yeah.
more
Be there.
detailed discussions in 2 weeks on this.
very good.
So get your questions ready and we'll discuss it.
all I have.
Any other questions for Carl? Not, we'll move to D, Police Chief.
I sent out the February incidents. Any questions?
Anyone have questions on the report? Do you have anything else, Chris?
I do. So last meeting, I reported that we submitted our use of force policy to the Department of Justice for approval. We received approval. So our policy has passed the use of force per Section 2 of the Presidential Election Order on Safer Policing for Communities. That was dated back in June of 2016. I also reported that we were having Sheboygan Siren come out and look at our siren because the polling, 90% of the time it was failing down at the communication center. You guys aren't hearing the siren right now, so you won't know that it's failing. But when it does the polling test, it waits so many seconds and then it moves on to the next siren, whichever municipality is next. So we met, Carl and I met Sheboygan Warning at the siren. We determined that, we thought first of all that some components were starting to corrode. We thought maybe it might be a battery issue. It later was determined that Tom had taken the board down, drove it down to Milwaukee. They tested it down in Milwaukee and it passed every test. So what that leads us to believe is that the problem is with Outagamie County. So in that siren box, there's a portable radio. It's a Motorola radio. So if there's problems with that radio, that's the responsibility of Outagamie. So anything that further goes on that they find, it's not on our end, it would be on Outagamie County's end, and they would have to pay for the cost. That's good news for us. Along with the siren, I had a chief's meeting yesterday. Emergency Management, Paula Reeder, reported that there's a policy change within the emergency management. And that policy change is going to be that if an officer, it has to be a law enforcement officer, if they see a funnel cloud or something that resembles something or a tornado or something like that, that they can contact the comm center and comm center will sound the siren. Which is great news for Hortonville, because by the time that it comes through Hortonville, that's when it's already through. That's when they're starting to sound it, because they're watchers that they have trained, they're trained spotters. I don't know that we have that many in this area, but there's more of them there. So that's a good thing that we now can report it and they will sound it.
So Chris, what you're saying is that up to this point, police officers did not report?
No, we would alert them that there was bad weather.
Oh, okay. But if you spot...
But if we spotted I mean, we could say that it looks like we got a funnel cloud over here, but they wouldn't sound it. So what normally happens is when bad weather comes, emergency management director heads for the comm center, or somebody from the emergency management department heads for the comm center, and they're getting the reports, and then they're trying to figure out whether or not they're gonna sound the siren.
Now they have to.
Now if they get reports from law enforcement,
They found
that-
it.
Before
They
I'm sure they use the radar before that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
only problem with this is at nighttime,
right,
like the last storm
Right.
that came through,
right.
big one.
So under the current situation, the storm could have moved through before the sirens even went off.
That's what happened.
Yeah. I think that's what happened, what, in June, about 3-4 years ago? When we had those tornadoes come through, that's what,
July 2019.
yeah.
In August of 2013, and
Yeah.
it came so fast, but yeah, I guess, you know, I guess I like the idea of additional people being able
Right.
to alert, yeah.
So it's kind of, it's nice that we have the ability to do that, so.
Paul is the
Paul the reader.
department head right now,
Right.
right?
Yep. We had a report last week, potentially that a snowmobile had fallen into the open water on the Black Otter. Turned out to be a false report. Officer Manders was the first one on scene. He immediately went to where the open water was, and it had fresh snow on the lake, so he determined that there was no tracks going in it, no footprints around it. We dispatched the fire department, or fire department was dispatched, and we didn't find anything. So I purchased 4, they're 70-foot throw ropes, because we don't have anything. I mean, at that point, if somebody was in there, I'm not really sure how he would have rescued them. Just something that we had. They're very inexpensive, $23 for a bag, but they are, you know, you can see them in the dark, they're reflective, they got a ring on them that's plastic that floats. You attach it to a part of your body and throw it, and then you can drag them in. So we purchased some of those for the squads.
Chris, where'd that call come into, 911?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, they should be able to track that back.
No, they did.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
did,
the guy
okay.
actually, he thought that that's what he saw.
Oh,
He thought he saw 2 snowmobiles go across the lake, and he thought that only one of them continued across the lake. But I heard the call, because I get all the emergency calls to my
Mhm.
phone. So I immediately turned on my radio, and I thought, where's another caller? Because normally you would think that if the other guy, once he got across the lake, he'd be looking for, you're a snowmobiler, you know how that works, you know? You get off a lake.
Somebody
you-
Where's the other
responsible
one?
would,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids out there alone.
But it was weird, because we just didn't get that second call, so, you know, and then we just determined because of the fresh snow.
Yeah.
It could have easily been somebody who lived on the lake, and
It was
they went
somebody-
across
it
the
was
lake, and
somebody
one
that lived on
turned
the
off to
lake.
go
Right.
home, and the second one would have expected that. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you would see that.
Right.
But there's also falling through the water would be one you would see that.
I reported that we were gonna do our tracks hosting environment. They had a couple of problems, so we're gonna start that first week of March, or first week of April, I'm sorry.
What is that, Chris? Give me a-
It's, we write our citations, everything's done electric, it's done right on the computer.
okay.
We hit a print
Okay.
button, we have a printer, and then we do that, and then they have the transmission. But normally we store those all on a server in our department right now. They're all gonna be stored on a state server. So it's kind of nice because any jurisdiction can access other people's reports of, you know, traffic citations and stuff like that if we wanna share them.
And they have to maintain the server, not our, you know,
Right.
not our equipment fails. They've got
Yeah,
a backup
absolutely.
system, so.
So like that.
Any questions for Chris? If not, we'll move to library director.
So I just wanted to give some statistics and some updates about the library. As of the end of February this year, we had about 6,300 circulations for the year. We have now surpassed 1,200 curbsides, as opposed to the end of February of 2020, when we had about 12,600. So we're about half of our circulations, which is expected at all of our libraries right now. Our circulation ratio this year is at 0.63. So in the library world, you want to be close to 1. So every book you lend out, you have another one sent in. Right now, we are getting more books sent to us for our patrons than we are sending out to other patrons. So for 2020, our ratio was 0.52. It had previously been down to 0.3 something and 0.4 something, and at that point, Owls actually contacted and said, like, you have to start buying more items and sending more items out. So it's been a pretty good process. We are now at 0.63, and it's at 0.11 more than it was last year. So we're working on boosting our collection so that we can send more items out. Our shelving was installed a couple weeks ago. We're finishing up on moving furniture around, but I'd like to encourage anyone to stay after the meeting if they'd like and come see the new shelves. They look pretty fantastic, if I do say so myself. Out of 192 shelving units, I'm down to 13 in the garage.
13?
So that's been a really big weight off my shoulders. We have a library board meeting on the 9th, so this coming Tuesday at 4. It's gonna be an in-person meeting. We will have a closed session for my review, but we will also be discussing opening procedures as well as assessing fines for overdues and restarting our collections agency that we use. Our computer system hasn't been assessing fines during this time, but we have the option to turn that on now. So I'll be bringing it to the library board to start assessing overdues again, and using our collection agency for any accounts over 50. So getting some of that moving again, kick-starting our stuff. Hopefully we'll be seeing people soon. I'm hoping the circulations will go up once more people are able to come in and browse.
Are you taking donations yet?
We are not.
Do you see that anytime soon? Because I'm holding on to a ton that I've read and I would like to just donate, but I don't.
So we have a lot of people asking,
Yeah.
Especially people who did spring cleaning while they were quarantining. But right now we have not yet. The friends have kind of said, like, wait until people are able to come into the library instead of us having to meet people at cars and whatnot. So our friends meeting is next week, and we'll probably discuss whether we'll start taking them soon.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I get a handful of questions a week. So I anticipate we're gonna get a massive influx once we start taking donations again. Yeah.
Any questions for Adam? If not, we'll move to F, attorney.
I have nothing to present. I'll present questions.
Okay, then we will move to A, administrator.
So I didn't have one in the packet this week. I was out sick for 3 days last week. My son was sick one day and then he gave it to me. So I didn't have one in the packet. Basically, some of the stuff coming up, most of my time this week was spent prepping for this and the meeting on Monday. Myself and all the department heads, except Jane, because she's on vacation, will be participating in an HR course, 3 HR courses through the League of Wisconsin Municipalities on just supervisor duties and stuff like that. They're just hour-long courses that they're offering through their HR program there. Other than that, we have 2 applications currently for rector. We'll probably see how the next few weeks go and probably close it around before the next meeting, village board meeting, or whenever you guys want. But I'll bring that up later. Other than that, yeah, that's it actually. I don't have much to report as of right now.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, then we'll go to G, building permit report. There's none. 14, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News.
It's the cleanup on May 1st. No other updates right now.
Okay. Then we'll go to B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News.
Nothing.
Okay. C is Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. There's none. D, Hortonville Civic Association.
None.
Okay. E, Senior Activities Committee.
We met today, this afternoon, and the committee gave Nathan a go-ahead to discuss options regarding the second van with Outagamie County.
to look at options, because we're really only using one at this point. So he's going to explore options if we return one so that another agency could have it. If our use increases in the future, could we then get it back? So Nathan's gonna look into that. Discussed promotion of the RIDE program and the meal site. They're looking at continuing grab-and-go meals through June, but they are wanting to start congregate meals again, so looking at ways to do that safely and to promote it. We mentioned the meeting on April 13th with the public facilities to hopefully get some seniors at the parks meeting. And I think that's it.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, we'll go to 15, comments and suggestions from citizens present. There are none. 16, I need a motion to go into closed session.
A motion to go into closed section under state statute 19.85, one subs, E, deliberating and negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting any other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Dan?
Aye.
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 Okay. We'll need 5 minutes to clear the room.
Hey, Peter.
Are you looking for a motion?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
We
We're back in
need
session.
20, any action on matters discussed in closed session? If there is none, then we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now adjourned.